Okay, thank you everyone. Welcome to this last session of CA World for the Agile Management track. So my name is David Warner. I'm part of the PPM marketing team at CA. I'm very excited about this session. We have two great customers. We have Alyce Reopelle from Brinks, and we have Kevin Hill from Xerox. And they're going to be talking about their move to 14.2 and their business value they got from moving to 14.2, and in particular, Alyce is going to go through their extensive use of Jaspersoft, and I know lots of you are interested in learning about that. So we specifically put this session as the last one at CA World because we knew there would be a lot of people interested in this, and it kind of helped you to stick around a little bit more. So thank you for coming and coming to this last session. So I think what we're going to do first is we're going to do a little introduction from each one of our customers. So you get to learn a little bit about Brinks, a little bit about Xerox, and then we'll go into kind of some of our panel discussion. One note is that with the format we have and the time, we probably won't have time for Q&A here at the theater, but what we will do is right as soon as the session is over, Alyce and Kevin will both be off to the side, and we'll be glad to stick around and answer as many questions as you have. So we'll do that afterwards. So first, Kevin, can you tell us a little bit about Xerox?
Sure. I'd like to start out by saying, bienvenido, bienvenue, konnichiwa, namaste, guten tag. And before anybody gets any ideas, I have just about exhausted my vocabulary in many of those languages, okay? But welcome to everybody, and David, thank you for that introduction. What I'd like to begin with is I'd like to paraphrase our current CEO, Ursula Burns, as she was reflecting on our founder, Chester Carlson, in our latest annual report. And if you look at Xerox's objective, it has always been about making it easier for businesses to share information. Whether it was making the office work a little less tedious, a little more productive, a little simpler, that's where we've been. Yes, a lot of people talk about copying. And I'm going to tell you right now that my teacher was wrong. My 6th grade teacher told me I'd never get anywhere in this world by copying my classmates' work. I make a very good living that way now. Thank you very much. I came back and told her that, and she said, "You're the only one who could think of that." But where are we at? Xerox has 140,000 people in over 180 countries, generating more than $19 billion in annual revenue. This makes us the leading enterprise in business process and document management outsourcing. From that standpoint alone, we have a great opportunity here. Now, I'm going to say that 140,000. I want you to hear that again. 140,000 people. I'm talking about CA PPM today. 140,000 users of PPM would be a really killer thing to be able to tell you. We're not there yet. I really do think that that's my universe, though, because if you're talking about the services industry like Xerox has, you need to think about where we've come from. We're no longer just a copier and a printer company. I can no longer talk about just copying off of other people's work. We actually are one of the leading healthcare service companies in the world. We actually do a lot of government and transportation work. We also do a lot of parking solutions for counties, for cities, places like Los Angeles. We've done a lot of different things. But the interesting thing about what all of these people do, whether it's in a school, whether it's in a small business, whether it's for a government agency, whether it's for a transportation company, whether we're dealing with healthcare or document management, everybody needs help delivering that solution and service. The fact is, Xerox has all of those people trying to deliver those projects, those contracts through a project. And what we do in my space, I work in all of the divisions, I support them. And there are 3 major divisions we have, so I've got clients in all 3 major divisions of Xerox. We are in 30 countries around the world. We're on 5 continents. I must have my system up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for every one of these people, because we are generating information that helps us understand whether that contract which is supported by a project, is on track to be delivered according to the terms or not. So I have an awful lot of help to get this done, but the biggest thing that we're finding is that more and more of our divisions are coming, saying, you know what, we have a problem. We're using this software that generates out of Redmond, Washington, sorry about that. Oh, heck with it. We have a lot of people that use Microsoft Project. We have a lot of people that use Microsoft Excel as their basis of project management. I am not saying that's bad. What I'm saying is it's disadvantageous in the world that we're in now. Microsoft Project is a tool that a lot of us grew up with. But guess what? It still has some of the same flaws and fallacies that it does. And if you need to be able to look at your resources around the world, figure out what your bench is, who is available, when they're available, what they're going to be able to do for you, I don't think Microsoft Project's going to get it for you. And if you need to be able to figure out, because a global contract is in trouble, if you're doing something for Airbus and the project that's in France is being dealt with by people that are from Germany and you need some help getting more resources in, Microsoft Project is not going to help you with that. This is the kind of stuff that we're doing. Those divisions that I'm supporting, those people that I'm supporting are becoming more and more and more pressured to be global. Clients are asking for it. Our companies are asking for it. It's a lot more efficient to operate that way. It's a lot more cost-effective to run that way. And it's a lot more profitable to run that way. So this is where we're at. This is what we're trying to do. We are trying to help the companies get to where they are. How are they doing this? A lot of the functionality you see up here. Not only are we dealing with project management, but we're helping them with the financial management side, the demand management, and even portfolio management, resource management as well. Big things that we're trying to do. And it's not that you can sit there and say, for this day I'm going to do project management, for this one it's demand management, for this one it's resource management. It is all converging together. You guys heard Mike Gregoire earlier this week, where he was talking about the fact the speed of innovation is rapidly compressing. Also, the other thing that he was talking about is the mean time you have to deliver things is compressing. We have to be more agile. This is what we're trying to help folks do in Xerox. We are trying to help them become more agile, better informed, and better able to get this information. There we go. So, how are we talking about doing this? The interesting thing for me is I need to take you back more than 10 years ago. I have been with Xerox a little over 26 years. I have been focusing on clarity 10 of those 26 years. More than a third of my career has been dealing with clarity. I have dealt with it from its infancy in the NICU days all the way up to when CA first purchased it. And I still call it clarity from time to time, but it's now CA PPM, I know, so recognize that I may make that faux pas as well. But what I am trying to get across to you guys is in that 10 years, I have seen a lot of ebb and flow, a lot of change, a lot of things are different. For example, our initial foray into CA PPM was simply to help our managed services group be able to get the accelerated information that they need for a small cadre of their projects, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 100 to 200 projects, because we needed to support about 300 contracts that we had, and we were trying to do different things with them. The interesting thing about that is we also directly invoiced out of Clarity. We would literally print an invoice. We were running the information to do that. We could bill them either with paper or we could bill them electronically. And we were doing very good at it until 13.1 came along. For those of you that might not be aware, that feature left us in 13.1. I have to tell you, 95% of my user base vanished overnight the day we went to 13.1. 95%. Anybody here willing to give up 95% of their user base to me right now? Come on. Nobody? All right. I was really worried. 95% of my user base. I really had no idea what I was going to do for a living. And here's why I say that. When I first took this job 10 years ago, I was given command of 8 systems with 1 charter. I was commissioned to eliminate all of them. People that were with those servers and those systems and those platforms, they already knew what was coming. I was the only dupe. I got hired and they said, okay, so here's what you're supposed to do. In 3 months I came back and I said, I have found a home for 7 out of 8 of those systems. The problem? I didn't know where to put the 8th system. It was a system called Clarity. There was no place inside of Xerox that I could find that would do anything like Clarity. So we had to make sure that that worked the way it was supposed to. My whole point is going to be talking to you about how we ended up going from, hear this, 50 users, all in the United States. In about 4 years, we're in that 30-country spectrum. We're on the 5 continents. We're running 24/7. I'm not doing billing anymore. And it's been actually a very freeing experience, by the way. I don't have all the legal regulations that I've got to worry about anymore. I like this. But there are some things that had to change. There are some things in Xerox that I'll bring back to you here in a minute. But at this point, I need to turn it back over to Dave to ask Alyce. And I'm going to give this to Alyce.
All right, so now we'll hear a little introduction to Brinks.
So I'm going to make our Brinks introduction kind of quick. Y'all know Brinks, right? Armored cars. We have the fun job. In fact, somebody asked me, we had a Brinks truck pull out, and they asked me if I staged that. Yeah, no, I didn't. So I'm going to give you real quick, because I know you want to get to the meat of it, right? Why did we do it, and why do we use Jaspersoft? So a little bit about Brinks. We do it end-to-end project management. We do investment management. We do investment governance. We do risks, issues. We do anything and everything related with the project, cost plans, budget plans, benefit plans, in Clarity. We actually operate in over 100 countries. I've rolled out to 26 countries in a year. Doesn't matter what country you're in, you follow the same expectations and the same process that is set. Okay? Our timeline was actually very quick. But what you're going to hear me say at the end is you don't have to do it at once like we did. We made the decision to go to Clarity from another tool in March of last year. I was a Clarity user for many, many years prior to that. Close to the end of May, we were ready for production. A year later, we upgraded to 14.2. I will brag on my team. I had a whole team of 3 people internal. We actually completed the upgrade in 5 weeks. We would have been ready beforehand. Flawless. I don't often say that. But you'll see the countries we're in. We're in Mauritius. I honestly never knew where Mauritius was until I had to add a resource from there. We've had language challenges we've got past, but Clarity does every language for every country almost that we are in. The biggest part is when they Skype me in their language. I've become a grand user of Google Translate. So for Brinks, you can imagine reporting is very important to us with what we do, just like it is for Xerox for other reasons. But when we're transporting your money or anybody else's money or valuables, we have got to know. And you'd think, well, what kind of projects do you have? All you do is transport money. What about the applications to track it? What about like FedEx, you know where your package is. But there's more to Brinks than that. We have vaults. We have to keep track of all our customers' information, but we have to track it securely. So for Brinks to be able to do this globally and within the time frame that we were, partnering with CA and being able to do it on our own, the upgrade and the advantages that you're going to hear from me on advanced reporting has really made life for me and I have a very large team, 1 person. We support everybody in Clarity globally, all reporting, all administration, and all training. So you'll hear more about that later. But let's get to the meat of the presentation, shall we?
All right, let's do. Kevin, go ahead into your 14.2 story.
Okay, so did I mention that Xerox was very heavily invested in Microsoft Project? We are. Virtually everybody gets it on their laptop or their desktop back when we had desktops. That's a lot of people. Think about it again. Let me repeat that number. 140,000 people trying to manage or be part of those projects. I told you a minute ago when 13.1 was installed, we had to lose most of our users. Well, what happened is an amazing thing. Because we were able to focus more on project management than we were on the daily billing, we started being able to get involved with a lot of other regions. We're divided into 3 major regions in my world. There's Xerox Europe, there's the North American folks, and then there's also what we call the Developing Markets Organization, which includes everything from Latin America, Africa, West Europe to Middle East and Asia, at least the far west side of Asia. The rest of Asia is part of Fuji Xerox. My whole point, though, is that space suddenly became available to me. And we started with Europe. Europe came to us and said, we got a problem. We got all these people that are doing Microsoft Project or Excel, or heaven forbid, they're writing it on a piece of notebook paper. We need your help because we have no clue what's going on. Very quickly after that, we started hearing from the US folks going, we have a problem. It was the same problem. Very closely after that, we heard from the Developing Markets Group saying, we have a problem. It was the same problem. My point is, I don't care what business discipline people are working in. I don't care what geography they're working in. I'm seeing a lot of the same problem. It's the fact that everybody is using a disparate set of tools. They're not able to get what they want out of these tools. They're not able to keep the business running if somebody goes down or sick or is laid off, simply because that person has that project on their desktop. I say this about Xerox and about Microsoft Project because I want to get across something here. Some of the biggest features that got us to go to 14.2 are some of the simplest ones you'll hear about. The UI had very few real changes. The big nut of it was Jaspersoft, right? But in my world, my business users weren't so keen on that one yet. They were more interested in 2 things. Kevin, do you know how in Microsoft Project you can go and look at the screen and edit the duration? Yes, I'm aware of that. Can you do that in Clarity? Back in the 12.1 days? No. Back in the 13.1 days? No. Back in the 14.2 days? Oh, wait, I mean now? Yes, we can do that. They're like, really? Cool. The next thing, the Gantt charting. Remember how you can change all the Gantt charting and do stuff now? That was cool for them. And it's amazing. A lot of people that I talk to are like, really? Something that big? Yes, because think about this. If you're doing that in Microsoft Project, or if you're doing that in Clarity before 14.2, every one of the tasks that you want to update, you have to go to a separate screen, fill out the information you want, click on save, actually save and return, go back, find the next task, do it again. How many of you guys can think of what that would take to do time-wise for a 1,000-line project? That's just a small project. Some of ours are bigger than that. So the whole idea, our users were more concerned about saving themselves clicks, doing Gantt charting and doing the duration editing. Big thing for them, so big that they postponed a lot of things they had been asking us to do. Enough so that we said, okay, we'll do that. We will split, and this is something I'm bringing out. You can actually split the way you do the 14.2 upgrade. All we did was put in the UI. We did not change out of business objects, so we didn't have to worry about that for them. Right now, we're doing the change into Jaspersoft. Matter of fact, by the time I get home, I'm hoping my team has finished putting Jaspersoft in production so that we will begin using that as well. But my point is, you can split it. It doesn't have to be all at one time. And it can give you an amazing amount of benefit for something so small. And when our users saw it, they went, "You're a great hero." Really? It took 30 minutes of our time. Not hard. Now, we are going to try to do the ad hoc reporting, but in our world, we're going to do that as a separate project next year. I want to do that because it'll get my team out of doing the reporting and focus more on the things that my team needs to be doing, which is building solutions. And this very quickly is what I want to go through. Our team has the infrastructure, and this is something I recommend heartily. It's not just about knowing the tool. It's not just about having the hardware to make this run. This system has been confirmed as being sized to be able to run 5,000 concurrent users. I'm headed there very quickly, because here's what I want to show you. Our ready support. We have developed for our people a repeatable deployment process. We can have folks up on Clarity in as little as 5 business days. 5. We also, though, to help them, it's not just enough to be able to say, hey, here you go, and walk away. We have been developing a system over time where we can sit there and help these folks. We have webinars, we record them on a site. We have a consortium of all of our users. The Europeans, the Americans, the Latin Americans, the Africans, all these folks are getting together on a periodic basis. They put their documentation in their space, but they have allowed me to be a clearinghouse for all that space. I connect to theirs, bring that information together so that the Africans can see what the Americans are doing, and somebody over in Turkey can see what somebody in Peru is doing, and begin to build on it themselves. They don't need me to be the middleman, but if they need help, they know that they can reach out to us. So that's what we're doing, is creating support for them. We also give them a quick start guide. It's a 1 or 2 page thing, and what it really does is, here's what Clarity is. Here's your steps in Clarity. What is your process? I don't know. But if you need our help, we'll help you to get there. But this is what you do in Clarity to make that happen. So what have we been able to do with this? I talk about quicker deployments. 13 countries in 30 days. That's not bad. And my point is, not only is it not bad, it's necessary. The business is needing this. They need us to help. So my point is, I deal with the tool a lot, but we are beginning to change even our focus. You also heard the guys talking this day about how we have to be more about everything. It's not just the tool, it's the entire experience. Brian Reed was talking about that earlier this week. That's what we're trying to do, is help people have a better customer experience. And with that, I turn it back over to Alyce.
Thank you, Kevin. Go ahead,
I got
Alyce.
the clicker. You laugh, but it's a tool. So, y'all want to hear about Jaspersoft reporting? When we upgraded, we just went, let's do it. But there's a lot of good that have come out of it. You've heard me talk about my one team. We have one instance of Clarity, so no matter where you are in the world, you connect to my instance. This gives us truly global reporting from a project and resource perspective. My one team member used to spend a lot of time building custom reports, or I would, because every country leader wanted something a little different. Every regional leader wanted something a little different. I don't even want to estimate the hours, but we had several custom reports built, and we literally were turning people away. Based on ad hoc reporting right now, we're able to grant permissions to certain levels of our resources, and they can go out there and drill for their own data. That has saved us huge amounts of time. They like the ability to fish for themselves. They feel a little more empowered, and we are more than happy to give it to them. We don't have the time. They now have direct access to the data they want. Now, if they have trouble building it, we are there to help them, right? But we don't have to have 100 different custom reports out there anymore. The analytics data warehouse helps those ad hoc users, right? You've got project, you've got time, so it's kind of built for them. They don't have to join tables like we do in Crystal to build them a report. As long as they know the field name, doesn't even have to be the database name, the field name, they can build an ad hoc report. But here's the big thing, and I never would have thought this. We had so many people so excited. Bullet point number 3. You've been there, right? Exporting straight to PowerPoint. Oh my God, the time you save. RPMs would spend hours trying to get it all in the right format so every project status report looked the same. straight to PowerPoint. That was the big win for our PPM group. They couldn't have been happier. They couldn't wait. And the few custom reports we have left that we haven't converted yet, they're on us, going, when are you going to convert them? I want to export to PowerPoint. That was one of the biggest wins for our project managers, for our business partners, because they're in there doing reports. But it gives them more flexibility and options. They can do tables, they can do graphs, they can do, crosstabs. They can save it. They can schedule it. The scheduling is much nicer in 14.2, by the way, when you schedule a report to run. Much nicer. So we're live right now with both. Remember me saying earlier you don't have to do it all at once? In order for us to take advantage of the ad hoc reporting, we went live with all the out-of-the-box reports in Jaspersoft, but that gave us time to convert our crystal reports from business objects to Jasper. And she's going to probably run out of the room right now, but Karen Duplantis is sitting in the second row from the back. She's been my one person doing all these conversions. But it allows you that time. But it also condensed our upgrade timeline, right? That was one of the big wins for us, so we didn't want to wait to roll it out. Move. Wasn't hitting the button right. Now, if you do go both ways, Karen tells me, she's techie, I'm not. I know enough to be dangerous. You're going to need 2 copies of Tomcat. We are on premise, all right? Because you're going to need one for business objects and one for Jasper. Any more technical than that, she'll be over here after this. As we convert those custom reports, we remove that access under business objects. So the only place they can get them then, Jaspersoft. So we kind of help guide them that way. But you're also going to need multiple reporting tools. We currently run Jaspersoft Studio, Crystal Reports, and since we're an Oracle database, we also have Oracle SQL Developer. Hope you have a strong laptop. It doesn't like running all 3 at the same time. But our goal, because of the whole business objects piece, or Karen's goal, all custom reports will be completely converted by the end of this year. She's got a little over a month left. And we will no longer be on business objects. But it didn't stop us from moving and taking advantage of ad hoc. Now, one big thing, too, is the data warehouse is actually part of it, right? I don't have to worry about it. It's already part of 14.2. It's integrated with it. It's there. Domains are built for ad hoc. I don't have to build domains. They're there for the non-IT user. How many of you know how difficult it could be to add a field to the data warehouse before? Now you do it with the checkbox. I think I like that just because she lets me check the box. That's all she lets me do, but you know. You don't need SQL knowledge to create the views. And again, more users can obtain access to their data without bothering Karen or me, because we're 2. Now, there is a learning curve. You've got to have some Java knowledge, because the SQL is a little different. Many times I've seen the hole in the wall from Karen banging her head. Complex reports. And so we have one report that has 5 sub-reports in it. It's one of our custom reports. We've been working on it for a while. I say we. Karen. But we finally got somewhere with it. So complex reporting, through partnering with CA, right, we have been able to make steps forward. Because we're actually doing some things that sometimes certain people in their area have not done yet. Normal reporting, even I built one. I really did. And again, I'm not a I'm not one of them. But it let me build one. So that's got to speak for actually the ease of it, if I can do it. Documentation is still being developed. So again, we're on premise. Most of the documentation we've received is SaaS, okay? There's a little bit of difference in there though. So we've had to kind of find our own way around. So there are some challenges, but not challenges that cannot easily be overcome, right? We were able to do it, again, partnering with CA and banging our heads against the wall, trying different things. Summary time.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to hear some final thoughts and recommendations from each, and we're going to go back to Kevin from Xerox. Go ahead.
Cool. Thank you. So as I'm trying to wrap this up, I want to give you an idea of why I talked about that previous piece, having the foundation ready for yourself. Because right now, where are we getting ready to go? We're getting ready to start doing application portfolio management inside of Xerox. We're working with some folks now. We have been able to demonstrate to them the value of doing this. Why are we trying to do that? The cost of ownership is something that we need people to understand. There are a lot of projects going on in IT. The question is, how much money are you spending on every one of your apps? And then looking at the strategic alignment, is that app one that you said you wanted to spend money on or one that you wanted to retire? So if you're spending money on it, is it money to retire it? Or is it money that somebody somehow found to upgrade it or enhance it? Are they following your strategy or are they not? So the point of having all of this stuff is once you have this kind of a foundation laid, you can start being able to bring things together in a way that makes sense for the business. You can move beyond the simple project, beyond even the global projects, to start talking about strategic value. So what is this meaning? We're now able to help people get better with their end-to-end business process. We're trying to help them understand not just the system, but what their whole process should be, what they should be looking at. We walk them through hand by hand. So we take the time to say, you know what, if you want to do it that way, that's fine. Recognize this is going to be an issue for you. And it's not a system issue, it's a solution issue. It's a business process issue. It might need more training, but we are there to help them do that. So where do we go? I've got a few more seconds. I want to give you an idea. Right now we're doing application portfolio management. Next year we're already talking about beginning to do professional services. Hopefully, toward the end of the year, I'll be in new product development work as well. Because if you've got a company as big as Xerox with 140,000 people in 180 countries generating over $19 billion of revenue, there's a lot of opportunity for somebody who's using CAPPM. With that, I say thank you very much, and I will turn it back over to Alyce.
Okay, go ahead, Alyce.
It's like racing the baton, right?
It is.
And I can't work the button.
There you go.
Okay. They found me a better picture. It was really bad one I had up there. So, if I were to give you key takeaways, it doesn't have to be done all at once, right? We did. Xerox is now getting into that realm. You can run both Crystal and Jasper, right? Give yourself time to do those conversions. And I'm going to talk about my team again when we did it, because we completed it in 4 weeks, and I had 3 internal resources, 2 of which had never worked with Clarity. So if I had to say, don't be afraid to try it yourself, no harm against CA or anybody else, don't be afraid to try it yourself. Now, we did deploy into dev a couple times to make sure, but I'm not kidding when I say when we did our production upgrade, it went flawless. I have never in 27 years of project management been able to say I had a project that went flawless. This upgrade did. Okay? Make sure you test it in dev, but if you don't have to do it all at once. Understand the ability that people are going to want to do their ad hoc reports. Give them that. They're going to feel empowered. They're going to go out there and do it, and they're going to want more. But they don't want you to do it. They want now more access. Teach them to fish. We ended up with minimal training for ad hoc reports. I think I spent 1 hour in a room showing them, here's how you drag and drop. And they've been off and running ever since. Overall, 14.2 upgrade, no retraining needed for any of my folks anywhere globally. So think about how you want to do it. You can do it the way Xerox did. You can try to do big bang like we did and give your time for the custom. You can run both. But I would recommend try it yourself. We did it. And trust me, we have one person that really knows Clarity, 2 people that did not. And they were my infrastructure folks. My DBAs and my system engineers had never seen it. So, you know, I mean, we'll be off to the side for questions. Anything technical, I'm going to have her up here with me. Take it with a grain of salt when I say it's worth the time. The time that you're going to save when you let people do this ad hoc reporting, and the time that you're going to save not having to build custom reports and giving them that data is going to be well worth the time you spend making that effort to do the upgrade if you have not yet, or start moving into that Jaspersoft realm. The time you will save that you can spend now on other things that need to be done will be well worth it. Okay?
Okay, so with that, I think what we will do is we will wrap up, and again, we want to say that Alyce and Kevin will both be off to the side to answer more questions from you. It's just going to be a better format for you all to answer questions. But I want to say thank you again, Alyce and Kevin. Thank you for a great presentation. Thank you very much.